I've been working on this 85 Ford F-250 6.9 liter diesel, two-wheel drive. And when I initially drove the truck, I noticed that it had kind of a wobble at about 35-40 miles an hour. I felt like it was going up and down and kind of back and forth. And then you go faster than that and it would go away. So the first thing I did was I had the tires checked out. One of them was separating, definitely causing a problem. So getting some better tires put on it right now. But the other thing that I noticed was that I got to looking at the suspension after cleaning everything up real good. And I'm going to shine a light, and as you can see this is the pivot point for the right side I-beam. And most of the rubber is pretty much gone, and that's just a bolt sticking through there. So there's a lot of movement going on in there while you're driving. No doubt causing or contributing to that wobble I'm feeling. And also probably not keeping this truck in alignment at all. So I'm going to be replacing that with a tool that I borrowed from a friend of mine for pressing that out and putting in a new one. And I'm going to be doing a few videos on how this goes. Okay, so what I've done so far is I've taken this nut and this bolt out of the pivot, and as you can see, this thing is in pretty bad shape. I've wedged a pry bar up underneath the cross member to hold this I-beam down so I can work on it. This part, which is supposed to be in the middle of a solid piece of rubber, is completely worn out. Even the rubber inside, as you can see, is just basically not even there anymore. So definitely time to replace this. So now I'm going to hook up the tool that's needed to push that out and try and push that old one out. Okay, so these are the tools that my friend loaned me. The first one is a ball joint / U-joint / brake anchor pin press set. And that consists of those parts right there. And the second one is a master ball joint adapter set. He wasn't sure if I was going to need these parts, but that's what's in them in case I do. If you can't borrow these tools or rent them, I've seen some people online show how you can make the receiver parts like this, which is where you're going to push the bushing through into. It's sort of just like a spacer that's a little bit bigger than the bushing. You can make that out of pipe. And then also these parts. These are stepped and they're real nice so that they can start pushing it through from the other side. But you can also find pieces of pipe or washers or things, and then of course use a C-clamp. In this case, this is a very nice clamp, and it's not a C-clamp. It's a specific purpose clamp for this set, but a C-clamp will work. Or you can use a bolt and run it through everything. I've seen that done, and tighten up one side or the other. But it's real nice to have all this stuff if you can get it. Okay, one of the things that I did on the back side, these pivot bushings are directional. There's a flange out here. This one was getting beat up pretty bad because that rubber had given out on it. So it's got to come out this way. So I'm going to be pushing from back here, but there was a lip, about 1/8 of an inch of a lip of the metal outer ring sticking out, and when I put the drive tool on there, you know, it wanted to cock, and I was afraid it would maybe mushroom out that, and so I just went ahead and ground it smooth with the I-beam, so that when I start pushing, I know that I'll be pushing the bushing out and not making matters worse, hopefully. Okay, I had to have a neighbor come down and help me. There were so many pieces to that tool that had to be held in place to start tightening it down that I needed an extra set of hands, and we got busy, got the job done, and I forgot to video the process, but here's the finished result. You do not tighten this nut. It's just on there just a little bit snug, but it'll still move. You don't want to tighten that till the vehicle's down on the ground, and you've moved it back and forth a little bit to let the suspension settle into its final resting position, and then you tighten that nut up real tight, and that sets the bushing at that point. That's real important. So actually this went pretty easy, not nearly as bad as I thought, and the good news is that it can be done in the vehicle without having to take loose the spring and the radius arm, you know, and the brake lines and all the pieces where you'd have to actually physically get this A-arm out, or this I-beam out. That's real good news. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be replacing this side. It also looks a little suspect, not as bad as the other one, but I got another one and I'm going to put it in there. So stay tuned for that. Okay, got the bolt out of the left side I-beam pivot mount. It has definitely seen better days, although it's not as bad as the other one. It still needs replacing. And I've got a piece of square box tubing wedged in there underneath the frame rail to help hold that down so I can work on it. And I'm going to get it ready to press it out here in just a minute. Okay, here is the tool in place with the receiver socket and the driver. And Pat, go ahead.
Put the pusher. Here we go. More?
I'd say yes, please.
Looking good. What's this?
I think that that's what we call
or bottomed out
success. Here is the new bushing ready to be pressed in place.
You're not going to go the other way.
Well, here we have the tool ready to press the new bushing back into place. Pat, you want to give that a...
We give the Mickey Mouse impact wrench here. Keep going.
Okay, now we've added the receiver cup to the end, so we can go ahead and finish pushing the bushing all the way through. Ready?
I think I'm ready.
Go on. Okay, we've got everything all bolted back up. Got the bolt through and aligned the pivot. Now you don't want to tighten this up while it's up in the air like this. Either one of these bolts should just barely be snug. And then you put the tires back on the vehicle, set it down on the ground, move it around a few times, let the suspension completely settle into where it's going to be sitting in the normal ride position, and then you tighten these bolts down. If you tighten them down when the suspension is dropped down like this, you put those pivots in a bind when you set it down, and that's not good for the pivots at all. So I'm going to put everything back together, set this on the ground, tighten those bolts up, and call it a job done.